Junkie Nation, look who we got back. It's Cory the Sandman Sandhagen, who on February 6th of 2021 will be taking on the legend Frankie Edgar at UFC Fight Night 187. Y'all down with a 187? Actually, we don't want that to happen, but that's an old movie quote. Gorgeous George and Goze here. What's going on, Cory? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, I got to start off before we even talk fights. Long's Peak. Is that like your version of the hill, the mountain where you go up, get some really, really badass cardio, or is that just a nice hike you had?
No, Long's Peak is actually really popular in Colorado. It's a tough climb. It's like it was my first class 3 with like a lot of exposure and stuff. So I've done it a couple times now, but it's not one that I climb every day. But I do have one that I like to visit like once a week or so and run up and get my conditioning in. But it's definitely not that one.
That picture you have, you're kind of kicking back when you get to the top, to the summit. Is that you enjoying what you did, or were you just wiped out at that point?
Nah, wiped out, man. 14ers, even the easy ones, they suck. They're like, they're really challenging. That one especially is like, I don't do well with heights. That's why I like doing it, is because it like challenges me to be better with the exposure and stuff, so that in the future I can go on some of the tougher ones too. But no, just doing 14ers in general and big climbs like that is just fun for me. But yeah, when you're at the top, it's you're just excited to get to the bottom.
Probably a basic question here, but I'll ask it anyway. Is a 14er just a 14,000 feet hike or climb? Basically?
Yep. Okay. And there's I think 58 of them in Colorado. I've done close to 30 of them now, but like I said, like I've done all the kind of the easy ones. Now it's kind of all the ones where like if you fall, you know you're not doing good, you know. So those ones like take some getting used to. So yeah, I'm like working my way up to those ones.
What's a 15er sound like to you? Like how much more prepared do you have to be for every 1,000?
I don't think there are already 15,000 peaks in Colorado. I think that the highest one in the U.S. is maybe in Oregon, Mount Rainier, and that one might be 16,000.
Okay,
maybe I'm not sure. The highest ones in Colorado though are only 14,000 feet.
Interesting. All right, cool. Yeah. Well, definitely stay safe. I mean, we need you in one piece for the fight, but it does sound like something that tests you physically and mentally.
Yeah, definitely. They actually do help a lot. I actually did one summer. I think I knocked out like 10 of them or something, and like I said, they all suck. Like the last like 1,000 feet or so are really challenging, and I actually do think that they kind of like help with like fighting and stuff a little bit if you're doing them kind of frequently.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right, Cory. So you got Frankie Edgar, man, the legend. Now this was supposed to happen a couple years ago, or 18 months ago, something like that. It didn't happen. So you've already, I guess, prepared yourself mentally and physically a little bit. But tell me, I mean, are you more, is it still like a business transaction? That's just another guy on the opposite? Or is it pretty special because he is a legend of the sport, a former champ, an incredible resume?
I'd say it's just another opponent. I mean, that being said, I think if you go into a fight against a really well-known and like high caliber guy like that just has a lot of experience, I think that you have to be prepared for kind of what that's going to do to your mind and what that's going to kind of do to just your going into the fight. I've seen that a number of times where you have a high caliber fighter fighting someone who's on their way up, and if that person isn't ready for that type of experience level and that type of the other person just being comfortable and them just having a different energy and aura to them, if you're not prepared for that, I think that will definitely mess with you. But no, I mean, Frankie's to me, just another person that I need to beat in order to be a world champ.
And then I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you noticed, but towards the end of 2021, and I'm sure this probably happens all the time, 2020, but I'm sure this happens all the time. It just kind of had a big spotlight. There was a lot of, we'll call them veterans or aging superstars or whatever. And some, like Pettis, for example, he was fighting for a contract. Kevin Holland took out Jacare Souza. Yoel Romero didn't even get to the batter's box, I guess, per se. He had lost in March, and then something happened there. He's now at Bellator. Anderson Silva, it looks like he's either retired or at least out of the UFC. But here's my question. when you watch those fights as a fan, do you root for the aging superstar? Come on, hang in there. We want to continue to see you compete. Or because you're part of the new crop, do you root for those young guns to take out the older guys?
I don't know, man. I root for people. Whoever I think, I would get along with better. That's usually who I root for. So I'm terrible at picking fights. I don't really have any attachment to like me being considered an up and comer and other people being considered something different, and what it might look like to have more of the younger guys beat the older guys or this and that. Like I don't have I don't I don't think that much about that stuff, but it is exciting. Like those matchups are definitely very exciting. They're kind of cool to see. Like like how are they going to handle it? And then some of them handle it a lot better than the other guys. And but I wouldn't say that I per se root for anyone. I only really root for myself though. Anything that's going to help me, that's who I root for.
All right. 2021's coming up. Some people do their little New Year's resolutions or list of things they want to accomplish. If you have a list, whether it's in your mind, the proverbial, or have you really written it down? Does it say Cory Sandhagen, UFC bantamweight champion?
Yeah, I was supposed to say that this year, but that didn't happen this year. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it'll happen next year. But I'm kind of in like a groove of not being too obsessive about any of that stuff. I think that it locks up my mind too much and it makes me uncreative, and it doesn't do a lot for me in my life other than kind of create a stress that doesn't really need to be there. Although that stressor is a good stressor, in the past it's kind of just become something that is a little bit too distracting. So no, I mean, so in 2021, man, like everyone values things differently in the fight game, and of course I want to be a world champion, but I think I value higher just beating the best guys in the world, and that's why I'm really excited to fight Frankie, is because that would be a really big notch on my belt, and it would add to the resume even more. And I'm big, and I value very highly like fighting the guys that I see as some of the best guys in the world, and that's what I want to do in the sport. And if I'm a world champ, I think that will happen in time, but that I'm more concerned with just fighting the best guys so that I can be the best fighter that I can by the time I retire.
Do you think that had you become a world champion this year, you would have been prepared for it and prepared for a long reign? And is that a goal of yours, to have a bunch of those title defenses? This past weekend, I was looking at Jose Aldo, 2 in the WEC, 7 in the UFC. So when people say, who's the greatest featherweight ever? I mean, there's a lot of names to consider, but then you just stare at that and go, damn, 9 times he defended his title. That's quite a reign, Now, for some fighters, they just want to win the gold. They don't think of that. But so that's my question. If you had won it, would it have been too early, or could that loss to Sterling have even made you stronger and more prepared when you do become a world champion?
No, I think the Sterling loss was very important to have happened to me. It made me organize a lot of things in my life, and organize kind of like I said, like values and stuff like that. And I learned a lot, and I became a way better competitor after that. And I think that's why why I did so well against Moraes. But yeah, man, I value fighting the best guys in the world, but that means being the champ. That means being the champ and reigning as the champ. I think that like every fight that I've ever had has, the stakes have only gotten higher since then. Like the guys that I fight are only going to get better, and that's what I want. That's what I like, and I think being the world champ, it's a tough goal, and it's definitely a big opportunity, but I think that that's really where the hard work starts. I think that when you get there, that's when it's time, like, hey, like now you're fighting a bunch of dudes that are going to be hungry as hell to get what you want. And that's what I really look forward to. I really look forward to like winning the world championship and then reigning as that champ, and kind of just seeing, what that does for me, and like, and how that makes me. Like, I'm really excited for that.
Cory, when you look at this matchup, when I go back to your last one, I look at Marlon Moraes, I can kind of point at a lot of similarities between him and Frankie Edgar. They've shared coaches at one moment. But what about the things that separate them, the two puzzles? Can you point maybe to a couple things that you feel are a little different in this matchup for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most obvious one is that Frankie's a really accomplished wrestler. I think that stylistically, like Moraes tries to knock your head off, where Frankie doesn't really try to do that. He tries to kind of stay really busy and keep his feet moving and stay really safe. And Moraes doesn't fight as safe as Frankie. So I think defensively, Frankie's going to be better. And then I think in the grappling department, Frankie's going to be a lot better. So I would say that those are probably the two biggest differences between the two of those guys.
When I think about your gym, I think of a lot of fighters that just have very little quit in them. They're all really, really tough. They seem like they probably all show up for practice. They don't need to be pushed into the gym. But when you're in the gym, is there a particular person that you could say pushes you the most? And not just that, but when that guy walks through the door, you kind of go, oh man, I got to be on top of my game because that dude don't mess around.
I do have I have really good training partners. I would say the one that pushes me the most is a guy named Carrington Banks. He's not in the UFC. He fought for LFA sometime earlier this year or last year. I don't know. It's been a long year, but Carrington Banks is probably the guy that beats me up the most. But that being said, I think that we've done a really good job in our gym, kind of establishing a culture where we don't try to kill each other. We try to make each other better every day. And but when Carrington wants to beat me up, Carrington beats me up, and that's the guy. Yeah.
Outside of mixed martial arts right now, because we got to stay a little sane, what are you looking forward to the most? Top Gun 2 or Coming to America 2? Two sequels.
I don't know what either one of those things are. Top Gun, the Air Force movie.
Yeah.
They're making a sequel to that?
They've already filmed it. It was supposed to come out right around when the pandemic started, so they've just been sitting on it. You never seen Coming to America?
I don't think so. No, what year? What year? Sorry, man. Sorry.
What year would you say?
Yeah, it was early 90s. He's only 28, so
all right.
We're lucky if he knows who Michael Jordan is. Put it that way.
Out of respect for two guys that are looking way older now, will you watch that movie at some point?
Yeah, I like Top Gun. Yeah. But honestly, man, I don't really like good movies. I like entertaining movies, but I get a lot of crap from my girlfriend actually about that because when it's time to choose a movie at night, I don't really like watching like the good movies. I like just watching something that's going to entertain me and make my mind, not have to think about stuff. But I didn't know that Top Gun was having a sequel. That's pretty cool. But honestly, man, just in general, I think I'm excited to go see anything inside of a movie theater.
What is it that you miss the most that we used to have? Baseball games, football games, the movie theater, bowling. What do you miss the most?
I think just being able to go to a crowded restaurant, to be honest. That's, if I have anything that I like to spend money on, it's probably like going to dinner on Friday and Saturday nights. And right now in Colorado, you can't dine in, and like eating food out isn't really the greatest, so I think just, man, like I can't wait. Well, and also I really like comedy shows, so I'm excited to start going to comedy shows again. But yeah, comedy shows and restaurants, man, I cannot wait till we can start doing that stuff again.
Well, Cory, here's lesson number 1 in case you ever want to do media when you, well, a lot of fighters do media right now. They're like part of the panel, stuff like that. So I'd like to see you on one of those, by the way, sometime. Hopefully the UFC gives you a chance. But the follow-up. So my follow-up would be, what's that meal you want to have? When the restaurant opens, is it a favorite restaurant, a favorite meal? That would be my first question.
I really like curries and like Indian food and that genre of food. So yeah, all of that, man. Because like curries and I'm not big on pho, but like curries, any type of Indian dish, like all of those, man, they're just not good when you bring them home, man. They're just like, they're cold, and then you got to warm them up, and like it just doesn't feel the same. So like I can't wait to have like a like a hot boiling curry at a restaurant in front of me where I don't have to just pick it up and come home and eat it on my couch.
All right. And the second one, I can't remember. And I think that's because I'm getting old. But I had a second follow-up based on something you said. So while you were saying things about curry, I was like, the fuck is that question? I'm getting pissed off here. And I don't remember. Do you guys remember what he said?
Movies,
Indian food, that style of food.
No, it was the prior one. When I go the follow-up. Oh, man, people are going to kill me because it's one of those things where we're curious about what fighters like. And so it was there. Damn it! I might have to even text them later after I go back and review this. All right, not that important. It's not the end of the world. All right, two more things. You're headlining a fight night. What's your feeling on? I mean, fighters love being in the headline bout, getting those 5 rounds, but it's also pretty special too when you're starting to be part of the pay-per-views. What's your feeling on that? Do you even care?
No, I really like it. I like I prefer 5-round fights. I think for the most part against most guys, I think that strategically that they're probably going to favor me, which I like. And I like just having more time, man. Like I think that the shorter the fights, the more room for I don't really know how to explain this, but the shorter the time frame, the less you can kind of show that you're better than the person. I think it kind of leaves things more up to chance. Where I think if you have a longer fight, you really get to see who's better, and it comes down to a lot less of like I guess it does add an extended time where like you can get in quotes caught. But I think that you're able to actually like break down a person, which I think I do well. Like I'm good at figuring people out, and I think that the longer the time on that I have, then great. So from a strategic standpoint, I really like 5-round fights more. I think as far as like just being in the limelight and stuff, yeah, man. Like when I was in main event against Maurice, like that was really cool for me. Like it was really cool for me to see my face on a poster and me sign that poster. And that was something that I had been thinking about for a long time before that. And all of those things are just like really cool. I hope that they don't ever become too normal, because to me, they're really big deals. And to me that first started this sport, 10, 11 years ago, like those are big deals to that young kid too. And I really enjoy kind of like that feeling of like, oh yeah, I am, like the harder I'm working, the more I'm climbing, and that's like a cool feeling.
Do you have a cool interaction story on giving an autograph to a kid or anybody?
I actually do get a decent amount of fan mail, and I will look at like the address, and that's like a cool feeling where it's like because the letters mean a lot more than just like messages on Instagram. I don't really even like to read too many of the Instagram messages, but when I get like a letter from someone and their return address is in like Florida or Pennsylvania or Washington, or I got one from it's like I even looked it up. It was like a really small town in I think Kansas or something. That's like a cool feeling where it's like, oh man, like these people way out there like want me to sign a picture of them. Like that's a pretty cool feeling.
You get international mail too, like other people from other countries? Right?
No. Overeem gets a lot of mail sent to the gym too, and his addresses are a little bit more interesting than my addresses.
Hey, last question. This might sound kind of corny, but do you speak any Spanish at all?
No, not at all. I think I took it for like 3 years in high school, and then another 2 or 3 years in college. But no, I don't know any Spanish. I at one point probably could have had a conversation, but now like no way. I haven't had to even think about it probably in the last like 6-7 years. So no way. Why are you asking?
Here's where I'm getting. You appeared sometime in that airport in Denver. Somebody's gonna walk up and go, "No manches, Canelo Alvarez."
Yeah, I got that a lot when.
You did?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was training in Holland, that's what they called me. They called me Canelo when I was out in Holland training. Yeah, because I used to have a goatee when I wasn't able to actually grow a full beard. So I even looked more like him. And actually, that fight last weekend against Callum
Badass,
Smith.
huh?
Yeah, both of those dudes look like me. I look like their baby.
Yeah, man. Canelo's the man. He's the man right now.
He is the man, dude. Did you watch that fight?
Yeah, I only caught the highlights, but yeah, I've seen a lot of Canelo fights, and that guy just continues to get better. I thought when Triple G arguably took the first fight, I was like, but ever since then, he's just kicked it up to another notch. The guy's a superstar, and that's how I want to end telling you the same thing, man. Watching you grow through LFA and slowly through the UFC. Now look at what you're doing. 2021, conceivably, you could be a champion. You're that good, my man. So keep doing your thing. I love how humble you've stayed throughout the whole time. I think that's also key, not getting caught up in the lifestyle. And then another thing you said was the hard work once you become the champion. That's championship mentality as well. Because there's been a lot of UFC champions, but then if you ever get a chance, just Google or Wiki or something like that and look at the title defenses and how that distinguishes the names as they get all the way to like John Jones and Demetrius Johnson with 11 each. It's pretty incredible. But yeah, I mean, cool. Becoming a champ's an amazing thing either way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I was actually watching a video on this YouTube station that I like, the Academy of Ideas, I think, and the one that I actually watched recently was about mastery, and it talks about how in order to be a master or live up to your full potential, it's you make things a lot less about goals per se, and you make them a lot more about self-actualization. And I think that I try to keep myself in that headspace as much as I can, where it's more about just me reaching my potential more than it is about anything else. And I hope that if I am given that opportunity and I do get to show that I am the best or become the best, because obviously I'm not the best because I just had a loss to Sterling not a few months ago. So I hope one day I get to prove that I am and stay, chasing that highest potential that I can, that I have.
I can't wait to see it, man. The bantamweight division is the gangster division. There's a lot of you killers in there. It's super fun. I'm glad you guys are starting to get some shine. Hopefully you guys start getting big bucks too, just like in boxing, man. Those lighter weight classes for many years have outshined the heavyweights. What heavyweights are making a little bit of a comeback now with Fury and Joshua and everybody else, but still, yeah. I mean, you guys have great fights in the UFC and all of MMA. Thanks, my man, for spending some time with us today. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy. You know what I mean? Have a great camp, and I guess we'll see you on February 6th against Frankie Edgar.
Cool, man. I'll talk to you guys soon, and yeah, Merry Christmas to you too also.